Adela, welcome to my blog.
Hi, Ranka. Thank you for having me. Good morning from Vienna, everyone.
So, Adela, I know that your life story is quite an interesting one. Maybe you would like to share a little bit about your background, where you come from, what you do, what your situation is.
Glad to. So I'm Bosnian, so I come from Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I live here in Austria for already 7 years together with my husband, and soon we will be parents for the very first time. So my life is going to be very, very different. Thank you very much. And we are happy to welcome a little girl to this world. So my husband and I came here to Austria 7 years ago. It's an interesting story, and it always brings a lot of questions about us. And you can get to know me a little bit more through this story. And it's us packing our stuff and going on a bus ride, 14 hours from Sarajevo to Vienna, and starting our life in Austria. So we came without a job, without contacts, and without knowing the language. And our main goal was, so we set ourselves a goal for 6 months. We have enough savings to pay for the rent, for the German classes, for food, utilities, and then what comes with that. And we said to ourselves, we own that, so we want to give it a try. I don't want to be thinking about it. If we would have done this, then it would happen that in 10 years and so on. And one of the key reasons why we decided to move here was as well that we felt that somehow we outgrown the opportunities and the environment where we were. And in 2013, it was a perfect opportunity for us. So we both graduated from the technical universities. We had a good background, a few years of experience. And we said to ourselves, do we want to stay here, or do we want to try something new out? Because that was really a perfect opportunity to do so. So we said we will give it ourselves a try, and we will go. And we said, what is the worst case scenario? What is the worst that can happen? We will go there, we will spend all these savings, we will learn the language, we will meet new people. And if it doesn't work out, we'll come back, start something new, and we will have interesting story to share. So 7 years
no regrets, obviously.
No, because it was for us, we were young. We wanted to see the world. We wanted to experience new opportunities. We wanted to live in a city that is multicultural, where we can have, friends and meet people from, around the world. We wanted to have that experience. And it has as well to do with the history of my home country, where we had the war. We after that, we were very much in a closed environment, where we couldn't really travel without reason, without a visa, and so on and so forth. So it was as well that wish as a young person, that you go out and experience something different, and not we've been for 25 years, let's say like that, in the same environment. And we said, okay, now is the opportunity to experience something else, because otherwise, it would be a pity. It would be a pity. And for us, it was one of the best decisions that we have made, apart from deciding years back to study the technical universities, both of us. Yeah.
That would be was my next question, actually. So you both went to that technical university, and you obviously met there, or did you know your husband before you actually went there?
It's a Hollywood story, but he's a best friend of my oldest brother.
Like a romantic movie. Has everything.
And we come from a very from the same place, basically. So both of us, we come from a very small village in the northern western part of Bosnia. And yes, so we started dating up at the university. So he's from the civil engineering background, and I'm electrotechnic, telecommunications. That's how we met in Sarajevo. We started dating and got married later on. My way to the technical university, I was always one of the top students, and I could pick and choose, basically. And one reason why a technical university and is because my older brother, it's as well typical story. My older brother went as well there, and I we love each other, so we support each other. And he's my role model, one of my role models. And he was like, okay, I want to go there. The second option was the medical university, and I was like thinking till the last day, and then I said, my friend went there, to see how it is, and she said, oh, you need to memorize all these books and everything by heart. And I said, no, this is this is no go for me, because I want, to be able to in my work, to use analytics, logic, math, and all these what I'm passionate about. And if I go there, it's going to be a completely different world. So it was a great decision, and graduated as well there as one of the top in the class, and came here in Austria to realize that it was anomaly a little bit to have a woman in tech, especially women graduating from the technical university.
Can I ask something about the technical university in Sarajevo? Did you have a lot of female colleagues there?
Yes.
So there's a cultural difference between Austria and Bosnia, right?
Yes, I had over 50% of my female colleagues. So for me, it was perfectly natural to see women all over the university and all over the campus, not just for my specialization, but for other specializations as well. And we had assistants and we had professors, female professors, not that many, but still they were. And I remember the story when one of my professors, her female professor, was sharing, and she said when she was studying back then, there was like 3 female colleagues. And in fast forward, especially after the war, I think and of course, during the Yugoslavian time, all our moms have been working, some of them full-time, having kids, family. So it wasn't something that was a question mark, or should you do it or should you not, and how you're going to make sure that your family life is covered and your professional life. But as well, back then we lived in we are very much with the family. Family sticks together, supports one another. We grew up in communities. So that means if my mom would be working, then someone else from the family would be taking care of me as well, so that the child care is covered. And especially in the rural parts, when you don't have the kindergartens and so on. And yes, so you have many women who have graduated, who have studied and have successful careers from Bosnia and Herzegovina, as well from all other Eastern European countries, I must say.
So it seems that this transition to a more equal society happened much earlier in Bosnia than it is here. So I'm wondering, was it a big adjustment to come onto the job market here in Austria and be surrounded mainly by men?
Well, I grew up with 3 brothers and a father, so I've always in that environment. But what I like to say is, well, it was very different. It was very different. So my first team when I joined was 15 colleagues, male colleagues. And what I like to say as well, sometimes you can use this, your background. So I use my background as an advantage. So I turn it around in a competitive advantage, because imagine if you're 15 men and you're the only woman in the team, and you can use that as well in a good way as your advantage, because you're different. I cannot, I'm 180 tall. I wear high heels, so I cannot hide even if
an impressive personality.
Even if I would like to, I cannot hide behind my desk. So I like to stand up. And but what I like to say as well is, when I came here, it was like during all the interviews, it was like, wow, it was met with like, wow, you graduated in a positive way as well. I interviewed at the technical university for a PhD position and assistant position, and for them it was like, wow, we would love to have you in our team, because we want to see more women, and they understood what the diversity can bring. And the reason why I decided to go into different way and go into corporate world with this company as well was the culture of this company that I had a little bit known before. And it was a very, very healthy culture, influenced by the Swedish one, because it's a Swedish corporation. And I think in my case that made a big difference
So
because
can I ask you, are you still in this company and
no,
or okay?
I moved. I moved after 5 years. So after graduating here from my
Um,
MBA, so I
just
moved.
a question, what company was that and what did you do there?
So it was the company Tele2 Austria Telecommunications. So in the meantime, it was bought by Drei Hutchinson here, telecom operator as well in Austria. So my very first job there when I joined the team was as a trainee, and within 6 months, I was promoted to a full-time position, and after a year and a half being in within Tele2 Austria, I moved into Tele2 IoT, which is a global unit within the Tele2 group in Sweden.
So
Yes, back then it was still machine-to-machine big data. So, but then 2016 it was moved into IoT. So I very quickly moved into the international environment because that's where I feel like fish in the sea. So I love this multicultural environment. I love being able to speak in Bosnian, English, German languages, and that was also one of the opportunities that was gave to me, and I accepted it gladly to join into something unknown, because IoT back then in 2015 was a big mystery, big question mark, or if this is going to succeed or not, is it just a hype or not? And some of my colleagues were like, why do you do that to yourself? You have a stable job here. You can stay here as long as you want. You have customers that love working with you. There will be always work in this industry, in telecommunication industry. And I still decided to move into IoT. I was the second employee here for this region, together with my colleague. And one of the reasons, of course, was, I wanted to learn more. So I realized that is the next wave, that is the next thing that is coming. And that was the best, it's better to jump on the train earlier than later.
what fascinates you about IoT?
Everything. So because it's so diverse. It's very diverse. It's every single use case and customers and opportunity is different. Because you never know. So it's of course you come with equipped with the tools of, we can connect devices with this way, with this technology, and we can work with this partner, and then you can take this data and create different business cases and so on. But every customer meeting and every use case is different, and that is where you have to, every day is different. So there's no a monotony and like, okay, business as usual, we do this in this and way. But it's always about realizing what is that the customer wants. So where does he want to take this company, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years? So what are the strategic initiatives that this company is going after, and how can we support? And
so it's a combination of technology and people, right? It's not just about the technology, it's also about the environment and the chance to actually interact with people, do something new every day, right?
Absolutely, because we always advise our customers. So the IoT is not about technology; it's about strategy. It's you taking your company to the next level. And we never had the first discussion about technology. The technology discussions would come 3 to 6 months later on, when we knew, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to digitalize? Do you want this coffee machine or this vending machine should do what? And then we can realize, okay, this is the technology that we could use based on the business case, based on, if this is going to be in Europe, all these vending machines, or it's going to be in Asia, where the other technologies are available, and so on and so forth. So it's very much always about strategy.
So this is interesting because this picture you paint of your job is so completely different from what people usually think about when they think about working in IT. When you tell them I work in IT, they see you sitting in a dark room with your computer, writing code and hacking. But what you do is actually something that's very out there in the world. So it's totally opposite of what one might expect. And that's, I think, what you also love and what you would actually recommend about your job, right?
Definitely. And I think initiatives, and I believe initiatives like yours and many others initiatives that we have are so important to show what else is there, except for this picture, you're a dark room sitting and coding for 10, 12 hours. or carrying around switches, routers, and cabling all day long, which is good to know. So we all went through that at the university. We all learned this. It's important to understand the basics, but later on there's so much. So this is the important point that you said. There's so many opportunities in IT, software, IoT industry, and I've seen so many colleagues of mine that haven't went to the technical university. They went to for instance, they studied business and management,
Mhm.
or they studied something completely different. They said, okay, I love it here. I love strategic, thinking strategically. I love to work with the customers. You need to have, the basics are always the same.
Mhm.
Uh, Technical understanding a little bit, you have to have this understanding, which you can get while you're working. So it's technology is evolving. So what I knew 2 years ago, it's not valid anymore. Or it's good to know, but now it's something else is in focus. And you have to love to work with people and the customers, and creating this ecosystem.
When you're talking about this initiative and the importance of showing what we do and carrying that out into the world, I thought about you are also one of the people who is actually very actively doing that. So you have your own initiative, making it in Austria. I like the name, by the way, because it's also making IT in Austria. So it's a nice wordplay. Maybe you would like to tell us a little bit about that and what made you do this.
It started with the initiative of 1,000 women. And that's how it evolved, basically. The Making It in Austria started end of 2020. And my mission 1,000 women was started beginning of this year. I'm actually 1 year into the mission 1,000 women, and it has been an extraordinary experience.
Can you quickly explain what your mission 1000 Women is?
My mission was to tell my story, my career story. So how we came here. So how is my job in IT, IoT? So how do I feel as a woman in tech? What mentoring did for me, why networking is so important, how to land your dream jobs, and many, many other initiatives. And I woke up one day in the morning and said, I want to do this together, of course, with the support of my coaches, and it's a part of 10 years vision. And we said, let's get you out there and start you giving your story. And the main idea behind is just, show this diversity that we have, and hopefully inspire one other woman that say, okay, I cannot do it with my company, for instance, but there are some things that I would like to do on my own, and I could do that on my own as well. So of course I had the support from my company, but this was my own mission, where I said, okay, I want to go out and I want to talk to people, and I want to tell my story. And maybe, that was at the beginning, like maybe someone it will resonate with some of people that I meet along the way. And since that story was so picked away, so it was really, really a big thing. And I spoke to over 40 different communities, and did many, many trainings and interviews and podcasts and shows and so on. I said, now it's time for me to go a little bit in the background, because I love seeing other people successful. So this is what really makes me happy and fulfilled. And I love giving back to and serving the community. And I said, okay, what can I do? Because my story is good and nice, and I told it already like 100 times. And I know I have friends who have stories like my own, and they should tell it. And that's how the story with Making It in Austria, that's how it came together, where I just started inviting my friends who have a very similar, stories, coming here all by themselves, working a low paid job, start later on realizing, okay, starting my own company, and so on and so forth. So it's really, really inspiring stories. And I just basically, opened the room, created this stage for people to tell their stories. And what I always say, I'm looking for my own diamonds. So I'm not interviewing usual suspects, people that already have, enough space in media, and they created their own, brand, and so on and so forth. I'm really after people who are doing some fantastic job, and we don't see them, so we don't know their stories, and they have lots to say, lots to give.
That's a very interesting approach because we all know the importance of role models, but usually when we look for role models, we go to people who are already famous and they already have their story and everybody knows them. But often people cannot relate to those, successful people. So it's actually more interesting to see someone like you and me and who tells their story, and then okay, this could be me. I could be the one doing this, I personally I feel that this is much more successful in creating a mindset of being able to do things than just going to like successful people. Yeah, so I love that approach.
Definitely. So you always need to have someone who's like 5 years, maybe like 5 years ahead of you, 10 years ahead of you. And so you can a little bit relate, or, from your home country or from your, the region, or it really helps. That's why I'm looking for people from all over the world that are here, different, specializations, different, ways of making their careers, people starting their businesses, people going or deciding to stay in the company and building their career to the top. And I think that's what makes it worth, keep doing this, because people do appreciate this, and people do look after these episodes. And as well, for people who are thinking about moving to Austria, who are these, who should I talk to? Because there's so much materials and forums and on Google, but it's a different story if you find someone. There's this person called Sam or Diana or Martina, and then you just find them on LinkedIn and say, can I have a coffee with you? Can I have a chat? Because what you said is really important for me. I'm there.
I think that's also the second thing. The one thing is representation, and that is very important, that you see someone who's like you, or you can identify with, and you can feel that you could be that person. And the other thing is the mentoring part, that you are able to talk to someone who tried to go, who went this down this road, or who is doing something that you would like to do. So there are two aspects that you are covering really. One is representation, and the other is mentoring. I think you also have some mentees, as far as I know, right?
So far I've been a mentee, and this year I decided to be actively involved as a mentor. So I have two mentees, and they're both in IT. So one of them is in Bosnia. He's a student, so he's really, he's a junior, but with high aspirations, and having building a career and going dreaming big. And I'm really, really honored to support him along that way. And the other mentee I have through the Women Tech Network. We just started this week, and same with Adnan, with Emmy. I have really big plans, and it was a tough decision to decide who to take, because there were so many applicants. And the way how I decided was, okay, to which person can I make, help the most, support the most? Do I recognize myself in this story, so that I can really, walk the talk and share the experience with? Of course, you learn with them along the way, because they confront you with many challenging questions, and how you do this, and how do you do that, and some of them want to go faster, some of them slower, but that's what makes it really worth it. And I would invite everyone here, if you're not a mentor, to really be a mentor to someone, because it's so good to see what you can do in such a short period of time, with I say 1 hour, 2 hours a month investment. So we are not talking about days, we're talking about hours a month, where you are there to listen, support, maybe give some advice, connect to someone, share some insights, listen to their stories. And that really is something that you see change over the 6 months, and you feel like, wow, they had it all. It was just, you being there for them a little bit, and just say, okay, you can do this.
So you actually know both sides. You've been a mentee, as you said, and you totally recommend being a mentor as well. So, but what interests me, you being a mentee, what did you take away from that? How did you experience that? What did that do to further your career?
A lot. So I say in these 6 months, usually these kind of programs are 6 to 9 months, is something that can, take your career to the next level. Yes, it's, it will be challenging. It will take your time because, it's a busy world that we live in, full-time jobs and so on, many activities. But if you decide to put yourself like for 6 months and say, okay, I'm really committed to this, I want to, get the best out of it, then you can benefit. It's a long-term benefit, I like to say. So it's like for your whole life. And I had actually one mentor in my company. So and with him, with Cyril, we discussed, of course, things that were very much related to the company. So how I am going to make the next transition to the next position within the company. So how to grow my thought leadership within the company. And of course, he could support me with his experience, what is his skills and all of that. And I realized along the way I'm missing, female touch in all this, in my life. So it started to be like black and white a little bit, a lot. I started dressing up black and white and talking black and white and like my men colleagues. And I said, I want to have a female mentor. I want to have a female mentor, and I want, to have it outside of the company, because there are some topics that about the personal development, some personal stories that you don't feel like you want to share with in your company with your mentor. So I think it's really important to realize that there are different ways how you can, put that together. So maybe with one mentor you're working on technical skills, and with the other mentor you're developing your personal skills. And that's what I did through the PWN, so the Professional Women's Network here in Vienna. So they have chapters around the world, and I applied there for the mentoring program. And I got a great mentor, Claudia, and we were 2 mentees and 1 mentor. And it was a great fit. It was a great fit. And back then, at that point in my career, I wasn't really sure where I want to go. I was finishing my MBA here, and I was thinking I want to move after this MBA, but I wasn't sure, where do I want to go? Where do I want to move? And there was so many questions in my head. And that's what we worked out through the mentoring program, really step by step. And some of you maybe know this Lego series play, this playing with Lego. And yes, she's one of the facilitator for these workshops. She does that, for instance, for the companies, and she did that with us. And I know we did it at the beginning of the program. So she would ask us questions, we would build up different models. And I was all over the place. All my models were like filled with so much stuff, so many colors. It's like, and it was, in my head, how I was feeling, because I couldn't point out where I want to go. And then 6 months later, when we built the same, answered the similar questions and built the models, it was very clear and very clean structure. So I realized, okay, this is the path where I want to take for my career. And it's a great privilege to have someone, as your mentor, to have a call with and say, look, I have an interview tomorrow and I need something, or can you give me an advice, or I'm nervous, or different things, or whatever goes along in your life. It's good to have someone to talk. And yeah, that's why I love mentoring. That's what I love mentoring. That's why I like building communities and networking, because it has impacted my career in many different ways. And as I said, I do everything through my network. So my network is my Google. So I don't Google things. I call people and find different ways, be it for a job, be it for, I don't know, kindergarten, be it for, studies or books or ideas, and so on and so forth. So it's just, it feels good. It feels good to, have people around you, but it starts with giving. You give and get, and that's how it goes in certain.
Usually I have this final question in my interview, what you would recommend to young women starting out in IT, but it's very obvious what you would recommend, I think, right?
Yes. If you don't have a mentor so far, please find at least one. I had two at the same time, and it really, took my career to the next level. So if you, just surrender, to that experience, because there are people who are 10, 15 years ahead, and they have much to say. And if you're not part of at least, you have to be a part of at least one network, whatever that is. It can be your hobbies. It doesn't have to be strictly, I have in IT, I have hobbies, and so on and so forth. But it's so important nowadays to be part of, the discussion. You cannot close yourself and think, yeah, that's it, or whatever you are in your career. If you're a junior or a senior, as long as you progress in your career, it gets more and more important that you are connected with like-minded people, that you have access to different ideas, communities. It will do good for you personally, because you will grow, and for your career, it will do as well.
So thank you, Adela. This was an amazing talk again. I love your story. I love your thoughts. I very much agree with a lot of it. So thank you for giving me your time today.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, everyone. And get me on LinkedIn to all the viewers, so we can continue chat over there as well.